This is Jane. She's going to talk very briefly about a conversation we had with a retired teacher.
Yes.
Okay.
So we just had a chance to speak with a retired teacher from Manitowoc. She was joined by her husband, who was also a retired teacher. They've been retired for about 7 years now. They basically have been intermittently down here since the protests began. They feel very strongly first about how this is going to impact the teaching profession, but also because personally they have a daughter that's a public school teacher in Madison currently. She had a lot to say about how the bill would impact teachers personally, and then also how it would impact education in general to the state of Wisconsin. Basically, she described how the bill is going to take out about $6,000 to $8,000 from the teacher's salary every year to be put in their pension, when really for teachers that are starting out, it's money that's not at hand, that's money that's not going to be able to be used to support their families currently, and it's going to cause a big problem. She actually said that she's spoken to a number of young people that are interested in going into education or are currently teachers, and they're actually considering, if this bill goes through, leaving the state. We know we have some world-class educators here, and that would be pretty detrimental to the overall welfare of Wisconsin. She also mentioned how she has a daughter in the private sector, so it was kind of interesting. She balanced how they both kind of have similar education background, and how this bill is going to impact the public worker a lot more than the private worker, especially considering that Walker has basically stated that there needs to be some balance reconciled between these two, when really it looks like it's just going to impact public workers a lot more greatly and not really put a balance back into the equation.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty interesting. Like I said, they came all the way from Manitowoc. So
They've been coming almost, not every day, but they've been coming off and on for the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
It was really interesting because she said that the daughters in the private sector and the public sector make about the same, but that this bill could have potential cuts to the public daughter who's a teacher in the public sector between $5,000 to $7,000. So they actually make about the same, but this bill is going to be lessening the teacher's salary quite a bit. So especially she'd mentioned they have 2 small children, and that we just talked a little bit about health insurance in general, how expensive it is. And
well, so that was an interesting thing too. I didn't realize, and maybe it hasn't been as widely publicized, but there's something in the bill that would impact access to birth control and how it's covered under health insurance. We know that the bill could have substantial impacts on the availability of medical assistance programs like Badger Care, and from my personal experience working at the YWCA, if you're going to cut access to birth control for low-income people and maybe Badger Care, I mean, it's crazy to me. So yeah, it's kind of interesting, and I know something I personally feel strongly about that I didn't even realize was in the bill, so I'm glad that I got to talk to her about that.
Yeah, she was really nice, and they were, she was happy. We told her, kind of what we do at NLP, and she was really encouraged to hear that we do what we do.
Yeah.
So
yeah, she was.
She was a good person to interview.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jane.